Bezos' head of security, Gavin de Becker, wrote in the Daily Beast last March he had provided details of his investigation to law enforcement officials, but did not publicly reveal any information on how the Saudis accessed the phone. He also described the close relationship the Saudi crown prince had developed with David Pecker, the chief executive of the company that owned the Inquirer, in the months before the Bezos story was published. De Becker did not respond to calls and messages from The Guardian. The Guardian understands a forensic analysis of Bezos' phone and the indications that the hack began within an infected file from the Crown Prince's account has been reviewed by Agnes Callamard, the UN Special Rapporteur who investigates extrajudicial killings. It is understood that it is considered credible enough for investigators to be considering a formal approach to Saudi Arabia to ask for an explanation. Callamard, whose own investigation into the murder of Khashoggi found credible evidence, the Crown Prince and other senior Saudi officials were responsible for the killing, confirmed to The Guardian she was still pursuing several leads into the murder, but declined to comment on the alleged Bezos link. When asked by The Guardian whether she would challenge Saudi Arabia about the new hacking allegation, Callamard said she followed all UN protocols that require investigators to alert governments about forthcoming public allegations. Saudi experts, dissidents, and analysts told The Guardian they believe Bezos was probably targeted because of his ownership of the Post and its coverage of Saudi Arabia. Khashoggi's critical columns about Mohammed bin Salman and his campaign of repression against activists and intellectuals rankled the Crown Prince in his inner circle. Andrew Miller, a Middle East expert who served on the National Security Council under President Obama, said if Bezos had been targeted by the Crown Prince, it reflected the personality-based environment in which the Crown Prince operates. He probably believed that if he got something on Bezos, it could shape coverage of Saudi Arabia in the Post. It is clear that the Saudis have no real boundaries or limits in terms of what they are prepared to do in order to protect and advance MBS, whether it is going after the head of one of the largest companies in the world or a dissident who is on their own. The possibility that the head of one of America's leading companies was targeted by Saudi Arabia could pose a dilemma for the White House. Trump and his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, have maintained close ties with the Crown Prince, despite a U.S. intelligence finding, reportedly with a medium to high degree of certainty, that Mohammed bin Salman ordered Khashoggi's murder. Both Saudi Arabia and AMY have denied that the kingdom was involved in the publication of the Bezos story. A lawyer for Bezos, who was contacted by The Guardian, said, "I have no comment on this except to say that Mr. Bezos is cooperating with investigations." The Guardian asked the Saudi embassy in Washington about the claims. It did not immediately return a request for comment, but later said on Twitter that suggestions Saudi Arabia was responsible for the hack were absurd.